A2M Contractors Ask the Pros is a question and answer segment with the owner of A2M Contractors, Gregg Sharp, and with guests from time to time to answer questions in the trades that are frequently asked by clients. These are solely his opinions and the opinions of his guests. Hey, it's Gregg Sharp, A2M Contractors Ask the Pros. Number 2 question in a series of who knows how many questions. Let's shoot for 100, but we're on number 2. Once we get 10, then I'll start doing 1 and 2, 1 and 1. I kind of feel like Chuck Woolery back there, for those of you who remember Chuck Woolery in the dating game, back in 2 and 2. Question number 2. My contractor is pressuring me to sign an agreement. Should I be concerned? Maybe. Maybe is the answer. Anytime somebody's pressuring you to do something, they're really trying to work with your emotion. And a lot of times that's a sales tactic. You want to get somebody emotionally attached to making a decision. You want to get them feeling as if that decision needs to be made right away. And a lot of times that's just to kind of get the deal done in the world of sales. And unfortunately, in the world of contracting, there's a lot of salesmanship out there. There's a lot of companies that will oftentimes send sales reps into your home who have really no trade experience at all and will only be there because they're good salespeople. They have a price in their mind in which they know they need to get the work done with, and then they've got their commission on top of that they know they're going to try to sell you on. And ultimately, they want to get the deal done right then and there, because if they do, then you'll have less time to shop it out and realize that may or may not be really the deal that you should be getting. However, there are times when signing an agreement needs to have some time of the essence to it. I'll give you an example. You've gone out and you're building an ADU, and we're building a lot of ADUs this time of the year. So I'll use that as an example, but more so because it's really a practical example. ADUs are accessory dwelling units, and you've gone out and you've done your homework. You've seen what kind of units that other people have in the neighborhood. You've talked to a few designers, not interior designers, but actual architectural designs. And now you've gone through a couple contractors so that they can give you their price. Because you've done some homework, okay, here's where time is of the essence. Because now, if you're doing what's called the design build contract with your contractor, they're going to be responsible for the design aspect. The design aspect is using their designer, their engineer, and getting it to permitting. And by doing that, time becomes of the essence, because especially in today's COVID day and age, everything is now computer inputted. It no longer has a personal value to it. Where in the past you could go to an over-the-counter permitting type situation for smaller projects. Well, that's no longer there. All the projects get thrown into a portal and you get a number. You're like at a neighborhood deli. You get a number, your number gets pulled, and that's when your project gets looked at. The longer you wait, the longer it takes to get your permit. So if you've done your due diligence and you've gone through contracts and you find a contractor that you are comfortable with, hopefully A2M Contractors, but if you find a contractor that you're comfortable with and they give you a fair price and they're giving you what you're looking for in terms of a building experience, then there can be a time of the essence and a need for you to get a signature signed. It also goes a little bit beyond the permitting stage. And when I say that is because if you're a good contractor, you always have a good amount of referrals and business coming in. So when you've spent some time with a client and they have a time frame they want to meet, let's just say today for time frame period is November 27th, right? The day after Thanksgiving. So let's say they absolutely want their ADU built by July 31st. Okay, well that's going to give you about 8 or 9 months to really be able to do this. And when you look at that time frame, you're going to realize that the first couple of months are getting through the permitting stage. And getting through the permitting stage is not a finite number. It could take 45 days, it could take 90 days. It all depends on how many people came to that computer before you did. So a contractor wanting you to get into the sales cycle, or the contract cycle in this case, in order for them to get their design team moving is really important if you want to make your time frame a reality. So a contractor may look to pressure you in a nice way and say, hey, you know, Mr. and Mrs. S, Mr. and Mrs. G, we're running out of time here. We've got to a point where you've agreed to the price, you've agreed to all the necessities in order to go forward, but we really need you to sign an agreement because we can't go to the next step, and that's into the design and permitting phase until you do. In that case, then you should not be worried that your contractor is pressuring you or at least encouraging you, because in that case, he's looking out for your best interest in terms of time frame. The last step is if he's a good contractor too. I mean, there's always a lot of different sides to this. He may have 3 or 4 more clients that are just like Mr. and Mrs. S or Mr. and Mrs. G. They're making a decision. They're in the decision loop, and they look at their schedule as to how they can position each and every person to make sure they get them done on time. And it's a game of chess in many cases when you're a good contractor, because you've got to know which pawns to push and which knights to move and which bishops to move and which queens to move, and and do all the piece movement on a chessboard as in construction in order to get everybody to a winning checkmate type scenario. So when a contractor is trying to encourage you to get to a point in which they're signing on the dotted line, you're signing on the dotted line, and you're moving forward, it can be a good thing. It also can have some real time constraints and positives for you. And in terms of COVID-19 and today's pandemic stages, materials in a shortage. So the quicker you make a decision with a good contractor, a reliable contractor, the better off you're going to get your project done, going to keep your costing in line and controlled, and ultimately have a great building experience. Appreciate you watching Ask the Pros, and we hope to see you on the next question. Thank you very much. Hey, it's Gregg Sharp with A2M Contractors. If you like Ask the Pros segment, do us a favor. Go underneath the video, hit that subscribe button, click a like, let us know you're watching, and we'll be sure to get more content out to you soon.